guys, here on Birds 365. Thanks for streaming on in. Much like Mark Farzetta, our first guest, coming to us now from his own personal studio. Pretty cool. And proving the axiom that real men wear pink. It's Hunter Brody from the best show ever and NBC Sports Philly 97.5 The Fanatic. Broads, we like the pink. You're looking good, bud.
No, thanks. This was on my floor, and I picked it up this morning because I slept without a shirt on and threw a little bandana on, and here we go.
Love it.
You got that's because we have the green screen, so I can't wear. I got to wear something dark every day. I got to be Johnny Cash every day.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Broads, let me start here with what John and I were just yelling about. The NFL fining teams for faking injuries. I applaud Roger Goodell. I tip my hat to Roger Goodell. I think they're going to make this stand up, and it will keep teams from trying to find loopholes and taking advantage of the rules in the National Football League. You down with it? You good with it? Do you think Goodell did a good job, or do you think it's them just what happened to protecting the players? And injuries are supposed to be our number one concern and health of our players. It's a balancing act the commissioner's trying to do. Do you think he got it right here?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard because we were trying to talk through this as well. What do you do if people are faking the injuries? Because people were trying to come up with all different scenarios, right? Well, they have to take off more than just one play and this and that. But then what happens if someone's actually injured and they're not faking it? And I don't know. It's weird. It's a very fine line that you have to play. I don't know, because I heard you, John, about the commissioner. They don't really care about player safety. They pretend like they do, and they want to make it seem like they do, but at the end of the day, they really don't. They just want to bring in more money. So I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. The first question, you hit me with one that I don't really have an answer for.
It's a tough one.
It is.
But, and I really haven't seen the video, so I'm taking Jody. You said the defensive coordinator. I do know.
They have a video of him absolutely waiting the player down, Cam Jordan.
But I do know Cam Jordan's reputation. Now, the Saints said, he got an MRI. So to me, that's pretty easy to prove. Either he did or he didn't. If he got an MRI and it's a mid-foot sprain, he got an MRI and it's a mid-foot sprain. And then I don't know what the argument's about, other than you have a coach waving him down to stay on the field to perhaps get a bit of a competitive advantage. But that's where I bring in the Billy Martins of the world and the Bill Belichick's. That's the rule, man. It close that loophole instead of being the pettiness. And I know Cam's very upset because of his.
All right, so John, and I'm sorry to interrupt, and Hunter, thank you for being patient with us. Then do you never call it? Do you slam the door shut on? It's a loophole that you can never shut.
Close the loophole.
At some point, somebody's got to be the first to pay the price. They have to institute the rule, and somebody's got to be found guilty of it. If not, then you never have a rule change in the National Football League. Well, somebody's got to be first, and the Saints got caught.
Close the loophole, and Hunter brought up here's and this is off the top of my head. So obviously, if you leave the field and that type of matter, you got to sit out for a series. Close the loophole. Close the loophole in that matter. Legislate it. All this league does is legislate to a ludicrous degree.
Here's a counter real quick, though. What if, and I don't disagree with you, I think maybe that's the direction you might have to go to force players to not do this. But what happens now? Are players going to force themselves to be out there injured so they don't have to miss a full series?
That's a good point. That's why I said, it's a good point, Hunter. It's a very, very difficult problem. And they've been doing it since the beginning of time. That people say, it really ramped up here in Philadelphia during the Chip Kelly era. People were trying to slow the Eagles down. There's no doubt about it. So I think people in Philadelphia are a little bit more in tune with it. I don't think it's that big of a problem league-wide. I don't, some people, and by the way, if you're doing that to slow somebody down, you're done anyway. You're leaking oil. They're going to get in anyway. I just don't think it's that big of a problem. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think people in Philadelphia, because of Chip Kelly, are more hyper aware of it than other cities, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we did see this a few weeks back where two guys were pretending to be hurt, and then when one of them realized that the other one was doing it, they stopped. But guess what? The Eagles are winning. Like, they're winning it. So whatever team is trying to implement this, it's not working. The Eagles are still putting up 48 points against the Giants, and their offense is humming. So it really is a sign of desperation, which means the other team's screwed anyway.
Yeah.
Hunter, let me ask you a question that you should have the answer for. Is Jalen Hurts the MVP of the NFL?
Yeah. This is incredible, is it not? I mean, every single week, I'm in awe. Those throws, even before it became 21-0, and it was the blowout that it was, the 3rd and 6 to Devonta Smith to the right side, the 3rd and 3 to Quez Watkins on the left side, then there was a 3rd down that he used his legs. Pick your poison. I laugh because I think about if you're a defensive coordinator and you're going through the game plan and you start on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're thinking about what you're going to do. What are you going to do? What do you take away? There really is not. If you want to force this team to run, good luck. Look at this offensive line. You want to force this team to pass? Good luck. Look at what they can do in pass blocking and with their weapons. What do you do?
I've asked that same question 100 times. I probably asked you before, Hunter. I'm like, if you're a defensive coordinator, what are you trying to, Bill Belichick is famous for that, right? He's trying to take away the best player. All right, who's the best player? I guess A.J. Brown. I don't know. You try to take him away. Devonta Smith's going to kill you. Dallas Goedert's going to be back soon. Miles Sanders over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts sets a record every single week. First quarterback ever to have 10 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Yeah, what do you do?
It's amazing. I mean, I love this team. And there was a point where I was in the Jonathan Gannon, I don't know how we're feeling. At this point, how can you even complain? We might not like the look of it at times and this and that. These numbers are ridiculous. First in all these statistics. At one point, it was 2nd in sacks. I'm like, hey, you got some work to do to get to number 1. And then you start off the game. Before Hurts even touched the football, they made the statement that they needed to make. Here's Hassan Reddick. Here's Josh Sweat. Daniel Jones. You're going to have a hell of a day today. The special teams, I guess, is where we can start nitpicking and all. But you can see their special teams is bad, right? It's been bad last couple of weeks, even though there was a block punt, whatever. Maybe you want to say that you're not as mad at it now than you were before. They lost one game. They lost one game. So as bad as it is, when your offense and your defense is this powerful, I don't know. I have nothing else to say other than this is unbelievable.
The uber aggressive Wink Martindale defense this past 3 sacks. The conservative, why the hell don't you blitz more, Jonathan Gannon defense, 7 sacks. Yeah, the Eagles need to be more aggressive on defense, right? Hunter, with the fact that they've opened up the division, they've opened up the lead in the NFC, you still have the Cowboys in the offing just 2 weeks away. Is there any chance? I brought this up a couple weeks ago. My buddy Ricky Ricardo hit me with this on a crossover on WIP. Is there a chance that at any point between now and the end of the season, the Eagles will peak with football left to play? That they'll hit a point that they just can't get better than, and then there is the comeback. There is the little bit of a letdown. Do you have any fear that that's something the Eagles could deal with between now and the end of the season?
I don't think so. And I think it goes back to the MVP. Jalen Hurts is a different dude. And I know there's a lot to be said about Kelsey's leadership, Lane Johnson's leadership, Brandon Graham's leadership, who had an awesome day as well. So it's not just Jalen Hurts, but I think that rubs off on everybody. We go back to the video clip of Quez throwing up the money and A.J. Brown laughing, and this dude just has killer eyes. I don't think that Jalen Hurts would allow for that dip to happen with the way that he's playing right now. I mean, I think this is literally we like to use 2017 as the example, and most people go to Carolina as the one game where it's like, oh, that short week, Thursday night football was a good one. Then they played the Broncos and put up 51, and they were just soaring. The team was playing at an unbelievable pace, and it looked like, whoa, I mean, we thought Carolina was the message sent. This is something different. I think this game was more like that game against Denver where they put up the 51. I don't see a way that they fall. That's me personally. Do you guys?
Here's the problem with football. And I said, I covered, obviously, the Super Bowl team, as a lot of people, and I was there for every day of it. And I've been here for every day of this team. And to me, it's not close. This team is better than the Super Bowl team. And I don't even think it's that close from a personnel perspective. They are better. It doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl because so many things have to align to win a Super Bowl in this league. And the thing that makes the NFL compelling is, you have one bad game. Last year it happened to Green Bay, right? Bad weather.
And it was special teams, if I remember
and
correctly.
Special
right?
teams,
Oh.
yeah. Can you imagine if that happens? So, the stars truly do have to align to win a Super Bowl. You got to be good. Don't get me wrong. Coaches hate to hear that, but luck plays into it, even though they don't want to hear it. So this to me is a much better team. This is the best Eagles team I've ever seen, and it's not particularly close. And we see it with all the numbers and the sack numbers. I mean, I brought that up earlier in the show. This is the first, for all the talk about Gannon, Hunter, I'll say this to you. This is the first time in Eagles history. So Buddy Ryan, Jim Johnson, Bud Carson, anybody else you want to throw out there that fans always throw out to you and Jody on the radio. Oh, they got to be more like these guys. First time in Eagles history, 5 players have had 6 or more sacks. Never happened with anybody else. This is the kind of history every week with this team. That's all. The last 10 minutes of the Giants game, all of us reporters are sitting around saying, this record. You got to get all the stats correct because they break these records every single week. Miles Sanders, over 1,000 yards. First time since Shady McCoy. 10 touchdowns. First time since Shady. Jalen Hurts, 32 touchdowns. Leads the NFL in passer rating. The offense, I mentioned the sacks on defense. Hassan Reddick going at double digits. First guy, I believe, ever to have double digits with 3 different teams. It's ridiculous. Every week it's something.
I know. I agree. And I will say that I was in the camp of I don't know, with the Gannon thing, but at this point, I just don't know how you can complain. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and it's been a long enough time. After week 1, when it happens against the Lions, I don't have enough of a sample size to really know, is this more of last year's Gannon or, is there more to come? And obviously he has proven that there's a lot here with what he's able to do. And he's doing it when C.J. Gardner-Johnson leaves. He leads the league in interceptions, and now here's Josiah Scott for Avonte Maddox. I mean, you are plugging and playing and losing some guys. The majority of your key pieces are there, but you lose a ball hawk like C.J. Gardner-Johnson and you're still succeeding. So he's even doing it with a little bit of adversity, and that's why with this offense rolling the way that it is, they're doing it without Dallas Goedert. I can't wait for them to implement Dallas Goedert back into this offense to see what it can do.
All right, Hunter, I want to ask you a question about another potential offensive weapon for the Eagles, not Dallas Goedert. I'm going to make you Nick Sirianni, okay?
Okay.
You're in your office, knock at the door. It's Big Play Slay. And he walks in and says, I was only partially funning when I said this weekend that if I played wide receiver, I could catch 1,500 yards worth of passes from Jalen Hurts. And I'd really like to give that a try on just a part-time basis here. I know I'm Big Play Slay on defense, but you think you could slot me in for a couple of snaps on offense once we get this thing wrapped up here? I want to show my chops as a wide receiver. What do you say, Coach Sirianni?
You know what I would do? And obviously not prepared for this, so this is coming right off the top of my head. I would do maybe in a goal line package or something. Maybe you could do like an end around. Well, I don't want him to go out there and run some around, but maybe we can get cute and fancy, little fake toss. He comes around the other way to slide him in for a touchdown. Maybe that can satisfy him. Maybe do something like that, working a little trick play or something. But we need you back there. That'll probably be my first message is, look, I know you want to here, but we need you to make sure that you're on the other side of the football for this home stretch so we're winning a damn Super Bowl. But I'd find a way maybe to get cute with something around the red zone, and maybe we can work some magic there. Is that crazy?
I think he does the exact same thing he did to Gardner Minshew last year. When Minshew walked in after the Jet game and said, what can I do to become the starting quarterback coach? Nothing. Thank you, Gardner. Get back out there for practice.
I guess I'm picturing a Jalen Reagor type, where they kept force-feeding Jalen Reagor. By the way, what a quote by him this week. The balls on this guy. The balls
Well,
on
it's
this
often
guy.
You know, when Joe Namath is guaranteeing wins back in the day and the fourth receiver's guaranteeing wins. Like, what is the fourth? Why are you even talking to the fourth receiver? But that's another.
You know what? That's actually a great point. Yeah, like is anyone? I don't know, but how many people are in Zach Pascal's locker asking?
Yeah,
if they're
exactly.
Beat the Bears this week.
Yeah, we're gonna guarantee wins from the wide receiver 4. You know, I've been giving the Eagles too many flowers, so I got to go negative. I'm giving myself diabetes. So if we're saying one thing, and I know you hear this on the radio, Hunter. I know it. So I want to hear how Jalen Hurts can't play this way. Not sustainable. And then Kyler Murray goes down last night, probably a torn ACL. So people are going to be bringing up that to you. See what happened to Kyler? How do you handle that?
I mean, I just think if you look at the way the league is trending, there was an era where the pocket passer was the thing, and it was the Tom Brady's and the Drew Brees. But if you look around, I think it's bleeding into this new era where you need that versatility. You need that mix. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert. I mean, they're all guys that can move around in the pocket and make some plays happen, and I think that's just the way the league is trending. So you're going to see guys get hurt, and that one was just it was non-contact. He just planted his foot, and you saw it happen. That can happen anywhere. That can happen even if you're just sliding in the pocket one way or the other. If you're just stepping up in the pocket, maybe something happens when you plant your foot or whatever. So that's just something that happens when you're playing sports, and it's inevitable that you can't really run away from. So for me, it's like you can use plenty of examples that maybe someone does get hurt running the football as a quarterback, but as the years progress here and as we move forward as a league and we watch, you're going to see plenty of examples of these quarterbacks winning the Super Bowl because that's just the way the league is trending.
Exactly.
So that's how I would handle it.
And it's ironic, Zach Ertz, now a teammate of Kyler Murray. I always bring up Zach because he told me that back in the day, and Zach is hurt right now, torn ACL, torn MCL. If you play football long enough, the injury rate is 100%.
Yep.
It's 100%.
You could stand in the pocket and be like Mike White if you want.
Yeah. That's a shot at Jody. That's Jody's quarterback.
I'm a Mike. Look,
Mike White is a tough guy. Kept getting back up off the turf after getting crushed. McMullen, what the hell are you talking about?
That was Hunter. I didn't say anything.
I'm just saying you.
You misinterpreted what Hunter said. Hunter was talking about Mike White being a tough guy.
He is a tough guy. I'm just saying you can get smacked around no matter what. The thing is, we have an offensive line that won't allow a quarterback to get hit like that.
Yeah, good point. That's true. All right. Speaking of getting over injuries. Are the Eagles going to be able to overcome the loss of Aaron Cepas?
Yes.
I feel bad.
Yeah, the poor guy scooped the ball up. Then he stepped out of bounds, went back in bounds. Yeah, we were making some jokes about lightly, by the way, not seriously, but it's like if you can't hold the football for the kicker here for Elliott, please tell us that there's something actually wrong. If he's back next week and he couldn't hold the football for the fellas, you know what I'm saying? But no, it's unfortunate, but that's these kickers, these punters. It's a tough business out there. I probably would have stayed away from it. Now, you give that guy a lot of credit, don't you, Jody?
Yeah.
Yes. He picked him up. He tried to get the first down. He only come up a couple yards short. He almost converted him.
A real tough guy would have maybe lunged forward to get the first. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, now you're gonna pick on him for not getting the first. You are harsh.
I would have said stay away from it. Stay. We're gonna beat this team like a drum. Don't worry about it.
I saw the numbers. The guy they picked up isn't much better, right? So far from last year to this year.
He's old. He's older, 36. So Brett Kern's
forgive me for not having everything.
Yeah, for having the break. No, he's been punting for a long time, former Pro Bowl, but he is aging. But if you go back to the 2017 season, Hunter, people forget. Some people forget Donnie Jones was a punter. Donnie Jones was older than Brett Kern is right now. So you can punt at an advanced stage for a long time in this league. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I do want to talk about safety this week, though, Hunter. And I want to give you Anthony Harris is back.
Yes.
You're playing Justin Fields, so you're not really worried about the passing game that much. Bears are a bad football team. Who starts this week at safety opposite Anthony Harris, opposite Marcus Epps? Anthony Harris or Kayvon Wallace? Did they just put Anthony Harris right in there and start him?
I don't know. I mean, Kayvon Wallace has definitely been a bit underwhelming to this point. Unfortunately for him, I think people set the bar too high just because he went to Clemson in the position that he played. So
Brian Dawkins.
put him in a tough spot. But to be fair, for him sticking around as long as he has, you would think by now that maybe he'd have a little bit more burst and energy around his name. But, it's been a little bit disappointing when you remove the obnoxious ceiling for him there right from the rip. I guess maybe because of the team that they are, you can maybe give Kayvon Wallace the nod to see what he can do, give him a chance, and then from there. Someone asked me this, though, and I don't know if I would do it, but would you maybe move Avonte Maddox to safety and then put Josiah Scott
They've been
in
saying that forever.
I know, and I'm like, well, it's kind of like they tell you this all the time with the offensive line, and this was my response. You don't want to move a million pieces just to slide everybody. You fill the one hole and you keep everybody else in their place, so you kind of do that. And this was asked before the Anthony Harris signing, so I think they kind of realized, like, what do we do? But I think I would go with Kayvon Wallace. It's not like Anthony Harris was amazing, by the way, the last time around, too. And there's a reason why he's available and you can pick him up off the street and all that. So I think I would rock with Kayvon Wallace, knowing that there's probably going to be some times where, like, come on, Kayvon. And then from there, you adjust mid-game. Do you disagree with that?
No. I don't disagree with that. I think Kayvon gives you a little bit more athleticism. Certainly this week, the stronger part of his game is run support, and that's what you're worried about this week with Justin Fields. So I think if there's any week that you should want Kayvon out there over Anthony Harris, this is probably the week. Dallas, that's a more interesting conversation.
And CJ comes off after Dallas, right?
Yeah, January 1st is the first week he's eligible.
Till the last game of the season. All right, Hunter, right now, prior to game number 14 for the Philadelphia Eagles. This season, who is the most underrated Philadelphia Eagle? Who's had the most underrated season of any bird?
Wow. That is I don't know. Because I'm trying to think, like, we know what Hassan Reddick can do. Brandon Graham was coming off the injury, but we kind of know what he can do. All the guys that are succeeding, we kind of had expectations for them to succeed. So if I'm just going outside the box here, unless I'm missing someone obvious, could it be like a Marcus Epps? Could Marcus Epps be a guy that you – just because everyone who's succeeding, I kind of envisioned them having good years. I thought A.J. Brown would be a monster.
That would be my choice, Epsy.
Marcus Epps, he made him and TJ Edwards, whether it's in the flat, he's meeting you right there at the flat, you're not getting any yards after you make the catch, suffocating them. I think I'd go with Marcus Epps.
Yeah.
You guys are on the wrong side of the ball.
Where are you going?
Not the first time.
Yeah, right. I've made other wrong statements before, I'm sure.
How many touchdowns did Miles Sanders have last year?
Zero.
That's
a big goose egg.
And he's got double digits this year to go from 0 touchdowns to 10 touchdowns with 4 games left to play. Eagles RB1, most underrated player on the team.
And if I remember correctly, wasn't he out in training camp with the hamstring? And we're like, here we go again.
Yeah.
He's got some hamstring issues.
But here's the difference. Here's where I disagree with Jody. Like, Miles had a bad season for Miles, although he still averaged, 5 yards a carry, whatever the heck it was. It was over 5 yards, but he didn't score touchdowns. It was a poor season for him. But everybody kind of knew Miles was a good player. How good? Like, nobody knew Marcus Epps. I mean, it was just like the Eagles were telling us he was a good player and he was ready to take the step forward, but he wasn't proven at all. He's a 6th-round pick. They picked him up on waivers. And all of a sudden, he's the one defensive guy that plays every snap, never comes off the field. He's the Malcolm Jenkins of this team. That's why I would go Marcus Epps over Miles Sanders, because I knew Miles was a good player. Now, he's never played to this level, so I get where Jody's going. But I thought Marcus had a chance, but he's the guy that's sort of come out of nowhere. And I'm going to shift it for you. So my last one for you, Hunter, at Broads81. Make sure you follow Hunter on Twitter. At defensive bet, we know Jalen Hurts. He might be the MVP of the league, right? So as good as A.J. Brown is, as good as Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, all the superstars on offense, we know who the MVP is on offense. The MVP on defense, it could be a bunch of guys. Who is the MVP of this Eagles defense?
Instantly, I think of Darius Slay, but I'm trying to think of someone up in the line. See, because you bring in Joseph, you bring in guys because you had issues there, and Fletch is playing 70 snaps. Now he's no longer playing 70 snaps. He looks a little bit more spry, and it's kind of spread out over the defensive line, too. Yeah. You get BG, you got Red. It's not like one guy, like Aaron Donald, who's kind of setting the tone up front. Part of me thinks like TJ Edwards isn't getting enough discussion.
That's the name. That's my guy.
TJ Edwards on, which is crazy to me. But maybe that tells you exactly why we talk about this team, though. Think about what we're saying. Who's the most surprising player on? I'm going Epps, and now I'm saying TJ Edwards, and that's what makes this team so special. Is those are the guys that we were unknown about, undrafted guy, Wisconsin, that now he could possibly be the answer of who's the leader of this defense. Maybe I'm going TJ Edwards just based off the position and how he's making all those tackles.
That's
and
who I went with. That's my pick.
Spread out. Which football minds here are just sharp on this show, Jody?
Great, sharp minds. That is tremendous.
All right, now I'm going to seem hypocritical here by my next question because I'm not going for either Epps and or TJ, although I love both players. I've asked this question of every guest we've had on the last 2 days, Hunter.
Okay.
Over, under, rushing yards, Justin Fields Sunday with the Bears. He averages 75 yards a game. That's pretty damn good for a quarterback. Eagles have shown improvement against defending the run. Defending the quarterback a little bit different than a handoff up the middle. But if I set the over-under at 74.5 yards, you're taking under or over rushing yards for Justin Fields. And I'm leaning toward the under, which means either Marcus Epps or TJ Edwards is going to have to make a ton of plays tackling Justin Fields to keep him under. I'm still saying under. Which way you going?
All right, I'm going to say over, but hear me out.
Yes.
Everybody's got over except for me.
The Eagles are going to be up so big that Jonathan Gannon starts saying, hey, we'll let you bleed the clock a little bit, which is fine because they'll be up 20-something points, even though I'll tell you something else in 1 second. And then, you get some yards, you get some chunk yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, you're bleeding clock, and maybe that's how he gets his over. Now, that's one side of it. But the other side, I do wonder, just because this is football, you have the Giants, Bears, Cowboys. Is this your typical trap game?
Yeah. If there was ever a trap game, this is a trap game, Hunter.
Right.
But this team hasn't fallen into those traps. I give them credit. I'm with you. This is going to be a 35-10 game. The Bears are a disaster. Fields is going to be out there running around because they have no offensive scheme to know of. And he's going to run for 50 yards, and people are going to lose their mind and say, we can't stop the quarterback. And, they're going to win the game easily. And Justin Fields, by the way, isn't showing up again.
Yeah, it's funny. As soon as they lost to Washington, the 3-week gauntlet that the Eagles were going to get exposed.
It was 4. It was Taylor. It was Jones. It was Henry. It was Barkley. How in the world are they going to stop those running backs, Hunter?
Especially after Taylor's first drive, it was like, oh, no. Gannon.
Yeah, 3 of those 4 did come with significant leads, which kind of takes the running game out of play. But they did a very good job. You're exactly right. Taylor in the second half, when they still had the lead, Colts had the lead, the Eagles had to rally to win that game. That was a pretty significant effort out of the Eagles. Significant effort out of you, even in pink there, Brody. Thank you very much for hopping on. We always love when you join us.
Sharp football mind, Hunter.
That's
Brody.
Right.
Sharp.
That should be the quote that gets tweeted out on the JAKIB Media page.
Exactly right.
All right.
We will have you back for those smart football mind insights again before the playoffs roll around. Thanks for jumping in today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hunter Brody here with us on Birds 365. All right, quickie timeout. Come back. Johnny Mac, Jody Mac. You know what we got to do?